Hello, everybody, and this is Stacey from The Advisor. I'd like to give a heartfelt thank you to our sponsor, Dr. Bradley Nelson, New York Times bestseller author of The Emotion Code and the Body Code. Dr. Nelson's work is transforming lives worldwide, and we are grateful for his support in today's episode. Today on The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi, we're thrilled to welcome Italia. She is an entrepreneur and a mentor who helps people build successful lives and businesses from the ground up with mindset, purpose, and practical strategy. Learn more about her at Italia Tornabene.
Tornabene.
Yeah, dot
Tornabene.
com. Italia, welcome to the show. Could you say hello to everybody and share a little something about yourself and, some of the early steps you took to start building your life and your business from the ground up?
Sure. Hello, I'm Italia. I own 9 businesses currently that are very successful, and I've put the same system with each niche. And I've built systems from paralegal businesses to nonprofits, wine, makeup, you name it, I've done it. Services, carpet cleaning, maids. And so I put this system in place that has helped me scale, helped me build all my businesses, and I do it within 1 to 2 years. Instead of the normal time it could take 3, 4, or 5 years. Uh, I have turned adversity into opportunity. And I think that's really the secret because, throughout this journey of life, we all have adversity, we all have bumps in the road. And it's more about instead of why me, what is this teaching me? How can I use these tools as strategies to monetize off of and to help other people? And I think that's truly the secret to life. Our journeys teach us different things, and you can harness that into a business to help other people. You can monetize off of that, and you can, yeah, build businesses with it.
Love that. Now, what was the spark that set you on this path, and how did you turn that initial vision into consistent action?
My first businesses, well, started when I was very, very young, pulling weeds to go play the drums, learning how to play the drums. But I think that was the beginning of my entrepreneurship, and I didn't know it back then. I was very, very young. As I got older, I was working for the government, and I got my second degree in legal studies. And you have to work under an attorney in order to practice being a paralegal. So I started looking into loopholes and figuring out how I could do this myself. And you could be a legal, I think it's called a legal assistant. It's been years, sorry. It was like legal assistant or something like that. And you can help people with their paperwork. Instead of doing it for them, you can walk them through it. And that's what I ended up doing. And it went so well that I almost quit my government job to do it because I got to work from home. And this was 15 years ago. I got to work from home and I was making the same amount of money. And I think that was really my initial, like, this is interesting. And then I scaled that. I opened in 2 different cities. So then I was doing 2 different cities. And then literally overnight, everything went online. So everything that I was doing for people, they could literally just log on, go to the county website and do it themselves. And it shut down my business overnight. And instead of pivoting, I just let it go. And I was like, okay, well, there's nothing I could do. I look back now, I could have pivoted and did other things, but that's part of the journey of entrepreneurship. Not every single business lasts, not every single business is going to work out, but don't give up because you have something that a lot of people don't have. And that's
Yeah.
following through. Everybody can have this vision and this dream, but to actually execute on it and to go through the ups and downs of owning a business and entrepreneurship and having that grit, it's
Yeah.
totally different. And then from there, I was dancing. I quit my government job and I moved to Nevada to dance. It was excellent money, excellent money. It's not the same anymore, but it was excellent money. And that was another part of my entrepreneurship. I was like, I want to be able to work when I want to, make this kind of money, but this isn't how I want to go out. This is not what I want to be known for. So I took that time to really find myself.
Yeah.
Working for the government, I lost myself. I started working for the government at 20 years old, and my whole life was based on that. If you asked me about myself, the first thing I would tell you is I'm a government analyst. I was so proud of it, and I loved it. I loved what I did, but I ended up not being happy in the end, and I blew the whistle and I said, this isn't what I went to school for. I went to school for law and criminal justice because I wanted to make a difference in this world. So when I went to go dance, I truly found who I was. It took me years, but I
Yeah.
found who I was, what makes me happy, and I harnessed that and decided to build businesses that could help other people. And then I was kind of forced into it with COVID. So COVID hit and all the clubs shut down. And, anybody listening to this will remember every single month it seemed like we were going to open back up, right? So
Yeah.
here I am pouring out $20,000 a month in bills because I didn't want to lose my home. I'm a single mom. I didn't
Yeah.
want to lose my bills or my credit. I wanted to buy a house. So I
Yeah.
was continuing to pay these bills and I cashed out all my assets and I ended up almost losing everything. And I put an ad on Craigslist to go clean houses. I'm a total clean freak. So my son, remember how we couldn't leave the house? My son
Yeah.
kept asking me, he's like, Mom, why are you cleaning? Who's coming over? And I said, Nobody's coming over. I'm just bored, because I was scrubbing the floors in the bathtub every day. And it's not even dirty, but it was keeping my
Yeah.
mind busy. And
Yeah.
I sat down one day and I'm like, why am I not cleaning other people's homes? Nobody's cleaning right now. Nobody wants to go out. Everybody's collecting a check and I'm over here drowning. So I put an ad up and it was super cheap. It was like $100 like clean your house. And I
Yeah.
had never had it made in Nevada before. I had it made in California and they're totally different. In California, they will do everything. They will clean the basements, they'll clean the windows. So when I moved to Nevada, I didn't have it made because like I said, I'm a clean freak. I was just doing it myself. And
Yeah.
then when I started cleaning, I would go to these people's houses and I did this very thorough cleans, wiping down the doors, wiping down the walls, doing the baseboards, doing the windows. And I started to get word of mouth. And next thing you know, I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. I would, and I was doing great, but the money wasn't there because, well, it was there, but it wasn't enough for me to survive like I was before. And then I got so busy, I realized I should probably get some help. But then I was like, I better do it the right way because we're cleaning. If somebody slips and falls, I'll get sued. So that was the start of me hiring my first employee. And I think that was the beginning of me scaling, really. And then I blinked my eyes, and next thing you knew, I had 65 employees, and I was working out of a storage unit. And I remember it was 6 in the morning, and all my employees had to meet at the storage unit. And I just remember all these cars kept pulling up and pulling up. And I said, okay, I got to get a warehouse. I can't do this anymore because I am working out of a storage unit. It's ridiculous. So then I got the warehouse and it was, I learned a lot, but it was a great lesson learned. And COVID really spun me into entrepreneurship and scaling and learning the hard way for a lot of things. But I took that adversity. I said, what is this teaching me? And turned it into a business where 65 people, I put a roof over their head, food in their mouth, and cleaned people's homes that cried, hoarders' homes, people that were so depressed they haven't cleaned in years. And it felt very fulfilling, very, very fulfilling. And I think I realized then that I want to own a business. I love being an entrepreneur, but I've also found fulfillment in helping other people, whether it's cleaning a house or now it's helping people build businesses or helping, my nonprofit, helping single mothers, just get through their everyday situations. As a single mom myself, I went through situations where it was like I made too much to
Mm-hmm.
rely on the system
Yep.
that I made too little to do simple things like to buy my son $1,000 worth of clothes before he starts school. And then it
Yeah.
was like, 6 months later, I had to do it again because he's growing,
Yeah.
getting groceries in the fridge, living check to check. It was not easy being a single mom. And I'm sure it's not easy being a single father either. It's
Right.
the same thing. It's just you don't have two incomes. You have one income, but you're responsible for two people. And it is not easy. The system doesn't help you as it should. It keeps you stuck in a situation where it's like, oh, well, if I make more money or if I work more, they're going to take away my food stamps. I can't afford $500 or probably $1,000 now in food, right? And I get it. So I started this nonprofit. I give grants away, and I also help coach other women and just yeah, living a purposeful life. It's
I
amazing.
love, I love. Now, when resources are limited, what's the first principle that matters the most? Skills, relationships, or systems? Like, what is it?
Your network is your net worth. I've
Mhm.
heard that, and it is so true. You should always have a team by you. And with Magic Maids, it was about 2 years into it. I had scaled so much, and I was kind of at a standstill because financially, I was doing good, but we had a 90-day net pay. I don't know if you know what that is or not, but you get these big contracts. So mine was with Nellis Air Force Base and with MGM Grand. They didn't pay out for 90 days. Guess
Hmm.
who had to pay all those employees their wages? All those employees, I had to pay the linen fees, I had to pay the warehouse, I had to pay the supplies. It was a lot. It was a lot to burden. And I said, okay, you scale, you get these contracts, you're so excited, but then what? You don't expect the expenses to come along with that, right? Scaling is a whole animal because once you start, you can't stop. If you stop, you're pretty much shutting down your business because you've gotten it to this point. So I ended up bringing in a partner. I was trying to sell the business
Yeah,
because I had brought the net worth up. I had got these contracts, and I said maybe it's just time to sell it to somebody that knows what they're doing.
yeah,
This guy was gonna buy it. We went out to dinner a few times. He talked to me about the business, and then when I was expecting to get a nice fat check from him one day, he said, "I'm not gonna buy your business." And I said, "What?" I was so devastated. He goes, "Your business is not your business without you." And I thought about it. I said, "Okay, you're right. It is my personality. It's my brand."
yeah,
So this guy knew so much about cleaning. He had one of the biggest cleaning contracts in the state of Nevada before they built all these homes, before it started to build, and D.R. Horton bought him out. They bought him out because he was cleaning out. They're called construction homes. So these construction cleans are these new homes. They're a mess, and these girls would go in and just clean them out and make them, livable so people can move in.
yeah.
And he actually ended up selling his business for $6 million. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so having him as a partner was absolutely amazing because he taught me stuff that I didn't know. And without that network of people and the people by my side, I wouldn't have known what I do now. I wouldn't have been able to have that support to scale even more. I had a lot of adversity with like people that own businesses that, as an example, when I was dancing, one of the biggest contracts I got was one of the nightclubs over there.
Yeah.
And this guy that owned the nightclub has so much doubt in me. I had to learn not to listen to other people. It took me selling those businesses and starting the wine business for me to realize I'm not talking to anybody anymore with their opinion if they haven't been
Yeah,
in my shoes. If they haven't started a business from the ground up, scaled it, I'm not listening to them. I appreciate it, but I'll take it with a grain of salt, you know? But the owner
exactly.
of this club told me, you're scaling too fast. You're going to shut down. You're going to, so negative instead of encouraging me. But I realized something. He didn't start his business from the ground up. He obtained his business because his father handed it to him. He
Hmm.
has, with the employees, with the laws, with the contracts, the alcohol, he had everything in place.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about scaling a business. He doesn't
Right.
know anything about anything that I was doing, but I let that get to my head. I let that get to my head. So be careful of the people that you're around. Be careful of your network, and always stick with people that are there to encourage you, will help you turn your adversity into opportunity and help you scale and help you build. They're really in your best interest, and you'll know.
Oh yeah, I think that's amazing advice, and I've learned it myself. You can't really go by what other people say. Everybody has their own opinion, but you don't know what they've gone through. You don't really know how good their experience is. And I've also learned through the years, people kind of make themselves a lot better than what they really are. But they
Yeah.
like, but everybody likes to give advice, and everybody, but you don't know what that other person's shoes are and where they've been, and so you really, I always looked at people who were above me, and people, that worked themselves all the way up. Okay, what did they do? Those are mentors, and those are the people that I listen to because obviously they got there for a reason, so, and then I kind of shut down like you did. I'm like, took it with a grain of salt, listened to people, but didn't really, you know, kind of take it too much. And when
I
people,
always tell people shut out the noise. Shut out the noise. I've had clients that tell me like, oh, their mom is, she's not really supportive of this, or their spouse isn't supportive of it. I'm just like, shut out the noise. It doesn't
yeah,
matter who it is. Even if you fail, you're going to learn something amazing out of it, and you're going to start another business because that's just the entrepreneurial spirit. I don't think I know one entrepreneur that hasn't had a million goes at it, and then had one thing stick or two things stick. I get it. I know. I've been there. Not every one of my businesses worked out. Personal training didn't. That was something I really wanted to do because the gym is my outlet. The gym changed my whole life. It taught me discipline. It taught me patience because results took a year or two, and I thought that that would be great for me to give that opportunity to other people, but it just didn't work out. The market's saturated, and I wasn't making the money that I thought I would from it. I scrapped that. Not every business is going to work out, whether it's a passion or not. It's not it's not all going to work out, but that's part of entrepreneurship. You live and learn. You live and grow.
100%. Now, what daily negotiations like mindset routines and
I
execution keep
love this question.
motivation dips?
I love this question. So every morning I wake up, I listen to manifestation music. I'm not sure if you know what that is or not, but Abel Hart. Abel Hart is like one of my favorite. And if you go on YouTube, you can type in manifestation music. There's some for girls, there's some for guys, there's some about money, there's some about my day's going to be great today. I always turn that on. It's the first thing I turn on in the morning. Clean my house. I have to have a clean house in order for me to sit down and do my work. So sometimes I clean it the night before, but there's times I'm just exhausted and I clean it the next day. I also journal every night and every morning. So at night, to help me sleep better, as an entrepreneur, you have an ongoing to-do list. It never ends, ever. And
Mhm.
you may write yourself a to-do list to do the next day. I'm going to do these 5 things, right? But that one thing will take you 8 hours. I had
Yes.
one thing take me 4 days, and I was so mad at myself at the end of the day because I'm like, how could I not have finished this? And I had to give myself grace and give myself patience and be like, it's okay. So now every morning, I'll do my manifestation, I do my journaling. I say, I'm going to do this, this, and that today. Today's going to be a beautiful day, or today is a beautiful day to speak in the present tense.
Yeah.
Today, I'm abundant. Today, I've accomplished blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I give myself, I prep myself, I guess you would say, for the day. And no matter what happens throughout that day, because I might get on my computer and get a bad email after bad email after bad email, and I have to do damage control, or put out fires throughout the day. But I try to look at the day and say, okay, what did I learn today? What did today teach me? What did it bring to me? But that mindset in the morning, the very beginning, and when you go to bed at night,
Yeah.
manifest what your goal is. Where do you want to be at in 5 years? Where do you see yourself? What are you working so hard for?
Yeah.
Visualize that as you sleep. Write yourself a to-do list for the next day so you don't have, negativity on your mind or stress on your mind when you go to bed at night. And then when you wake up in the morning, your goal is to complete that to-do list, have a beautiful day, manifest and vision your day, how the perfect day would run. And that's how I get through my days.
Love that. I love manifestation music. I think it's awesome. And I also love, I'll put speakers on who talk about manifestation in the morning and they'll go over a topic every day. And I'll have my coffee, I'll start my day, and in the morning I'll start to listen to it and it like just gets me in the right mood and it just puts me in the right mindset. I love that. I love that so
There's
much.
another thing that I do while I'm working. And here's my TV right here, and I'll turn on YouTube and I turn on motivational talks like Tony Robbins,
Yeah.
or Denzel Washington is great ones. I just turn on, yeah, I just turn on these motivational talks and speeches, and I love it. Sometimes it just gets me through my day. Sometimes I turn on jazz, but as far as the motivation goes, I need my manifestation every day, and I need to listen to some kind of pep talk because there's nobody cheering you on when nobody's around. Nobody knows what you're doing behind the scenes, the
Yeah.
relentless hours that you're working, the time that you're behind the computer, and nobody's there for you. Nobody's patting you on the back. You have to do it for yourself, for your business, for your employees. And sometimes you need that pep talk. Sometimes you need it's all right. You can do this. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, can you outline a simple 90-day roadmap for someone who is starting from scratch from week one to month one to month three, maybe?
I can, but it's not free.
Okay. Well, can you give people some ideas on, a simple like roadmap for
Yeah.
someone who's starting from scratch and is trying to figure out what's important first and what do I do first? Because I see people just get overwhelmed, and when I start mentioning things that they need to start doing, I see their eyes start bugging out, and you could just see that overwhelmness in their face,
Yes.
and it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be all done. All at once. You break it down. Maybe you can tell people a couple of things where they can, little things that they could start,
Absolutely.
build it up, the most important from, to the next.
Absolutely. So I created all these courses and they're all steps. They all have something to do with business. And then I created one course that's an actual roadmap from start to finish to scale your business. And one of the courses, which is, I believe, is the foundation of starting a business, is free. And that one's called Build Your Brand That Lasts.
Yeah.
And that is the first thing anybody should do. As an example, I started a luxury beauty line. I hate makeup and I wanted to put something on my face because I have uneven skin tone. I tan a lot.
Yeah.
And I wanted something that was going to be good for my face without looking caked on. And
Yeah.
I created this tinted moisturizer. It doesn't have SPF in it, so it's not oily, but it's just moisturizer. I can reapply it on my face all day long and it's not
Yeah.
going to do anything, But I built this brand based off of what I love and what I wanted to give back to other people. But
Yeah.
it took me like a week to say, this is the brand I want to build. This is the message I want to get across. It's almost like a vision board, but for your brand, a
Yeah.
mood board. They call it a mood board, right? So you create a mood board for your brand. And I think that is the fundamental. Before you file any paperwork, anything, build your brand. Build your brand. Who's your target audience? Who are you gonna, who are you targeting and saying you might want this product or service, right?
Yeah.
Build a brand that lasts. That's the first thing you need to do. Second thing you need to do is look at what licensing that you need. Every single company needs the license and insurance, bonding, whatever it is. Look at everything that you need. Go on Chat GPT and ask what licenses you need, what bond, what insurance, what companies to go through. Chat GPT will give you all of it. The internet will give you all of it. And make sure you get those ducks in a row, file all those. Second thing you want to do, or third thing you want to do, is make sure you have a marketing plan, advertising plan, because you have to get your brand out there. In
Yes.
2025, we're looking at your brand is you. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is, you have to put yourself out there. I had to overcome the fear of even being on podcasts,
Hmm.
putting myself out there. I don't know what it was. Something clicked in me one day when I was like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just going to do it. I'm putting myself out there. And I think
Yeah.
that's a big fear that a lot of people have to overcome. But in this day and age, you have to realize it's almost impossible to be a faceless brand. People want that emotional connection. They want that story. They want to know who you are and why they should support you. So
Yes.
put yourself out there, start making content. And once again, use Chat GPT. Find out what are hooks. Give yourself a hook. For me, it's my free course. That's how you get people in. Come to my
Yes.
free course, sign up, and now you have their email. Now you have their email. The next thing you have to do, so important, is a drip campaign. A drip campaign is so important. So important. I use MailChimp or go high level. There's all these systems in place for this stuff, but now you've got your clientele. Now you need to retain them and you need to get repeat clientele and keep them coming back. And that drip campaign should be stuff that is that is helping other people, that is giving them information, that is giving
Yeah.
them information, the tools that they could use, not just a hi, hello, how are you? And then after that is PR. You want to do PR. You got
Hmm.
to make sure PR is press releases for people that don't know. That's getting your name out there, getting the word out there instead of just social media. It's just multiple avenues of marketing and PR and getting yourself out there. That's very, very important after you do the fundamentals.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And
Yes.
always reinventing, like bringing on something new. As an example, with the wine industry, it's very hard to get with a distributor. I heard it's the same thing with the products as far as like my makeup line goes.
Yeah.
But you have to always be reinventing something, always bringing something new to the table. So I can say I have this great wine. It's award-winning wine. It's a 2022. I have about 5 cases left. Okay, what's after that? What's after the 5 cases? You have to
Yeah.
constantly be reinventing. If you go to Sephora, you see the makeup on there. they're always coming out with something new. You know, you don't see the same makeup, the same line, they probably started off with three or four, but they're
Yeah,
always coming up with something new every year to keep that audience engaged. So that's
right.
another thing you have to think 10 steps ahead. Okay, so this is what I'm offering now. This is my flagship product. What am I going to offer 6 months from now? How am I going to keep these people hooked?
Yes. That's that's so good. Now, scaling. We were talking about scaling early on. So many people are terrified of scaling and they don't, they're afraid to take the next step. They're the first thing that comes into their head, well, if I scale, will I lose sales and will, people leave me and, what's going to happen when my business go downhill? And, I can't tell you how fearful people are about scaling. But I've come to grow and understand that when we scale, we're actually bringing a whole new audience and a better audience. The
Yeah.
more ticketed your client, the better they are to work with most of the time. And versus a client that has very little and a low budget, they tend to be very nitpicky because this is all they have. Where you work with a high client, high ticketed client, and they kind of give you a little bit more leeway and you're doing three times or four times is better, and you're working with a whole different group with new opportunities, and people to help you with. What is your whole intake on scaling? Because this is a topic that I hear all the time and so many people I have are just terrified of it.
You know, Stacey, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head that it is scary. And I will tell any entrepreneur this, it is time consuming to scale. It is expensive to scale. And it is also something that you can't stop. Once you start, you can't, it's like a roller coaster. You know, you have to go on it and it is up and down like this. But
Hmm.
I'll give you an example with Magic Maids. I scaled very, very fast and it wasn't really intentional. It was like, okay, I have to, or my business, but as I scaled, the prices that I was charging to clean a home, they no longer I was going in the negative. But I had these clients that I had been with for months now that I would see on a regular basis that paid my bills. If it
Yeah,
wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to scale my business. And that was
right.
the scary part. If I increase my prices, okay, my girls want to get paid more for sure. That was part of the point of it. But
Yeah,
I have to have clients that are willing to pay that price. So I went
yeah,
from charging $100 to $150 per home to charging $350 to $400. And I
yeah,
knew I was going to lose clients. I knew it, but I had to scale or else I was going to fold. My whole business would have
yeah.
folded. And let me tell you, I lost every single one of the clients that I started with that actually helped me
Wow.
build my business. I did, but I got bigger contracts. I got MGM. I got a huge nightclub. I got the Nellis Air Force Base, and my girls had consistent work. That was important for me that they had hours. And you're
Yes.
right. I got much higher clientele. I started cleaning mansions out. I started cleaning construction cleanups, for big construction companies. And I may have lost my lower paying clients, but the higher ticket clients, you're right, they had a little bit more grace. They had a little bit more leeway. Most of them were entrepreneurs or CEOs. They
Mhm.
they they knew we're not perfect. They knew, hey, we see the mistakes that you made or things that you might have missed for my girls, but they were also like, we also see what you did though. So if the girls missed one window, you would have the lower price clients calling you saying, I want a refund. They missed this window. And I kid you not, they would say, there's streaks on my mirror. I want a refund. Really? There's streaks on your mirror? Like even I've left streaks and I don't know it. You don't know it till like, you're gone and it's dried. And it's interesting because you hit the nail on the head. You get different clientele, a different class, and they have a different mindset and a little bit more grace, for the people that are working for them. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it is scary to scale. It's very scary. You will lose people, you will lose your old clientels, but it's worth it. It's just business. It's just business. Don't burn the bridges on their way out, let them know I'm sorry, this is all business and it's something I have to do for my business. And that's it. You move on, but you're always going to get better clientele as you have more to offer, better to offer. And as you scale your business, you're going to learn a lot more. You're going to scale your business, but you're also going to fine tune it to the point where it's almost perfect. It is
Yeah.
almost perfect. And that's what you need to do. It is a risk. Every business that you have is going to be a risk. I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars on risk that I thought would have been great.
Yeah.
Kind of where I made the roadmap for everybody else. I built this course. It's $9.99. It is a literal roadmap from beginning to end on scaling. You can go as fast as you want, depending on your funds. And that's another thing for people that are scaling, have patience because I would lose my patience with people. And then it took me years to realize, okay, well, this person doesn't work as fast as I do, but they're also experts in this one field. And I have to outsource it to them in order for me to scale and focus on my business. And I have to just wait. A project that I thought was going to take me a week or 2 weeks has taken me months,
Yes.
months. And that's part of scaling. It is what it is. And you might have a project done and be completely unsatisfied with it. And guess what? You have to start from scratch, pay somebody else, be like, okay, I got to move on. And that's
Yeah.
just part of business and it's part of scaling. So be patient with yourself.
Right.
Make sure you network with the right people. Get rid of the people that are dead weight. And when I say dead weight, the people that are negative in your life, the people that are not uplifting you, get rid of them. It's going to hold you back. And be
Right.
ready to take risk. Be ready to fail sometimes, but get back up and pivot. And that's
Yeah.
another thing about scaling. You have to constantly pivot because things are changing. Laws are changing. Why when you're in the middle of scaling? When I started the wine business, 6 months after I had produced, it was all over Bloomberg that the wine industry is failing, all over Bloomberg that the RNDC is laying off these people, Southern Glazers, and I'm going, oh my God, I just poured thousands of dollars into this business, and I had to make a choice. Do I let it
Yeah.
go? Do I let it go and just sell what I have,
Right.
or do I build something new? I added
Yeah.
a few more lines, wanted to make it a little bit more intriguing. I added merchandise, a cookbook that had my wine with every recipe.
Mhm.
And I had to pivot. I had to pivot my business. And then I started getting more sales from the merchandise than I did the wine. And,
Yeah.
and but you have to constantly pivot. And yeah, it's fun, it's exciting, but it's also very scary.
Yeah. Now, you've written several books. Can you tell us about your books?
Yeah, so I have learned to live a purposeful life. We all have a different journey, right? And my journey has been wild. I mean, really, really wild. But I I took so I almost died December 22nd, 2022. Well, I can say I died, like literally flatlined. And
Yeah.
I woke up in the hospital on a feeding tube, like 115 pounds, and I I realized then, like, my life flashed before my eyes. I knew I was dying,
Mhm.
and what ran through my head is exactly what people say, and now I know why they say it. Your life flashes before your eyes, like really, really, it's insane. I started thinking about my son. All these good memories came flooding in, but at the
Yeah.
very end, I started thinking like, when I leave this earth, like, what are people going to say about me? My
Yeah.
house was a disaster because I had just gotten the contract with MGM. I had
Yeah.
boxes and boxes of linen. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm leaving people with this mess. My son, my poor son.
Yeah.
I'm leaving my employees. And I started thinking, what are people going to say about me at my funeral? She was a stripper at a strip club in Vegas and she owned a cleaning company. Like, that's not how I want to go out. That's not what I want people to remember me as. I
Right.
left the hospital with a purpose. I left that hospital saying, I am going to leave this earth as a legacy. I want to help other people. I want to live a purposeful life. I became
Mhm.
very spiritual. I was never spiritual. I did believe in manifesting, but I hadn't harnessed it yet. I didn't know exactly how it worked, but I
Mhm.
knew that, hey, if I went into the strip club and I said I'm going to make X amount today, I made it. And it was almost effortless, but I made my goal. And that's when I realized like manifestation does work. So when I got out of the hospital, I started writing. Every single one of my books go back to something that I learned or a lesson I wish I would have learned. And I just want people, whoever reads my book, I hope that I can help them through some type of situation. So Easy Investing was my very first book. It's very unconventional ways of investing. I don't really talk about the stock market in there because when you're poor or you're living check to check, the stock market is out of sight, out of mind. I don't
Yes.
have $5,000 to put in to sit there for 20 years. I need that $5,000. I need it for gas. I need it for groceries. I need it for a new tire, whatever situation I was going in. But what I did was I started investing into things that I could afford. As an example, I bought domains from GoDaddy. Now GoDaddy has a course, by the way, on how to do this. But at the time, I did it from just Google. I just learned from Google and I bought $1 domains. I bought a penny domains. Today, I have 26 pages of domains.
Oh,
Each
wow.
domain is worth anywhere from $100 to $3,000.
Wow.
26 pages. And I bought these domains for $1 or a penny because back in the day, I'm not sure about now, back in the day, GoDaddy would offer domains for a penny. And
Yeah.
if then you have to research like, okay, what's the niche right now? What is the industry that's popping? For the
Yeah.
past 5 years, it's been health and wellness. So if you
Yes.
go in there and you type in health and wellness domains, just buy them. They're $1. You can Google like names. You could do like Tornabene Fitness, or Stacey's health and fitness channel, something like that, and just hold on to it. Hold on to it. My grout and carpet cleaning domain. Oh my gosh. I I learned when you start a business, SEO is very important, but it
Yeah.
also depends on your business name. So when I started Magic Maids and I started talking to marketing companies, they said it's going to take us a couple years for your SEO to work because Magic
Mhm.
is the first name and nobody associates magic with cleaning. And
Right.
it clicked. I didn't know anything about SEO. I didn't know anything about this. So
Yeah.
when I started the grout and carpet cleaning company, I literally called it grout and carpet cleaning company. And the
Yeah.
reason why is because grout was the most lucrative in that business. And when
Exactly.
people typed in grout cleaning, my business was the first one to pop up without any SEO. I couldn't afford SEO. So
Right.
the domain today, I only had that business. I scaled it in 1 year and sold it. That business, that domain is worth over $2,000 and it keeps climbing. Isn't that crazy? And I don't even use it. I don't even use it anymore. So yeah, so I talk about that in Easy Investing. Easy Investing is a book this small. It's literally this small. Another
Mhm.
thing I did was I bought land. I have over 180 acres now, but the land that I bought was for $500, $300. I just took whatever I had and built, just a little tiny piece of land because it's so scarce. We only have a certain amount of land, like we do
Right.
gold. That's why it's so valuable. To this
Yeah.
day, every single month, I get a letter from a law firm offering money for my land. It's not worth it because I don't need it right now. And this is something I wanted to invest in to hold on to. But these are
Yeah.
assets I could cash out if an emergency was to hit. Definitely
Right.
don't want to. But if an emergency was to hit like COVID, these are
Yeah.
assets I could cash out. Another thing that I did was custom whole life insurance. I did that
Mhm.
for my son and I did that for myself. And to this day, he has life insurance, but he has this huge nest that he can use as a down payment. I'm not telling him about it.
Yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
pay me on it. But in a few years, I think when he's 25 or 30, it'll be completely paid off. Completely
Right.
paid off. Started it very, very young. I talk about that in there. So people that are just having kids, I'm like, buy it for them now because you're
Yeah.
paying $50 a month. I'm paying 1,000 a month for mine because nobody told me about this. I started way too late. But for my sons, his is like $300 and it's like millions of dollars if something was to happen to him or if he was to get disabled or if he wanted to pull out some money. He has this little nest in there now. But he wouldn't have had that had I not started very young. He would have had to do this as he got older. So I talk about that in there. Just little unconventional ways that I invested that over the years has helped me build my net worth.
Right. Oh,
And
that's
then
so.
one is Baxter Learns to Save. Baxter Learns to Save. Oh, I'm so excited about this. It was my sister's idea. So I wrote Easy Investing, and she said, you should write a children's book about financial literacy. And I said, that's brilliant. It's a great idea. So I did it. It went really well. I got the Mom's Choice Award for it. Sorry, I'm super thirsty.
Mhm.
I got the Mom's Choice Award for it. And I decided to make an entire series out of it. So now it's a 10-book series with
Mhm.
15 different characters. They're all forest animals and they go through ups and downs just like anybody else does. And they use their savings to help rebuild. And it's something that's missing in our school system. They teach you to be a robot. They
Yep.
teach you to climb the corporate ladder. They teach you that if you go work for X, Y, and Z, you get benefits, you get this, you get that. But what they don't tell you is you can actually build that lifestyle yourself, and you should start saving right away. So my
Mhm.
son, I have him save half of every dollar that he earns from the beginning of time. So Baxter Learns to Save is a 10-book series. I'm turning it into a cartoon. So the cartoons are being made. And
Mhm.
I have children's educational toys that are now available. And it's
Yeah.
called baxtersaves.com. And I'm adding in an app. And the app is going to be an interactive app for kids. Parents can let their children play on the app, no problem. It's just education. And I've incorporated all learning styles because
Yeah.
everybody learns different. So kind of
Right.
that's what Sesame Street did too. Sesame Street incorporated all different learning styles that children are learning. I did the same thing with Baxter. And then the other book was Femme Fatale. Femme Fatale was like my first fiction book. It was
Mhm.
really exciting. That hit bestseller in three different categories. And now it got turned to a screenplay, and now it's being pitched for a movie. I'm super excited about that. And it's based off of a true story. And then the other one was Decoding Men. I've worked in the sex work industry for 17 years now. So
Mhm.
I've learned so much about men, and it's a very simple book, just like Easy Investing. And I'll tell every woman this, men are easy. We complicate this so much. So I
Yeah.
wrote a book that tells you different styles. Like I can categorize men as, this one's a workaholic. This one's more of a family-oriented man. This one's more of an emotional one, and I break that down for women and how to identify that. That way they can that way they can harness their relationship, have better communication. I think a lot of it has to do with communication. Women think differently than men. And men
Mhm.
are very matter of fact. If you tell a man, I think you should buy me flowers every week or whatever, they will buy you flowers every single week. But if you say, I think you should buy me red roses every week, they'll buy you red roses every week. Like you have to be very matter of fact with men. Women, on the other hand, we kind of beat around the bush instead of saying this is what we want. We'll get mad at men for not doing what we want them to do in our head, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we don't convey that. So I wrote Decoding Men so women can communicate better with men or men with men, whatever, whoever wants to read
Yeah.
it. But it really breaks down their character, what drives them, what makes them happy. And I think in this day and age, we have this feminist movement. We have this I need to be an independent woman. And I don't think it works with society. I think that, men need to feel like they have a place in our lives. They need to be providers. It's instinctual for them. And if
Yeah.
they don't feel needed, you're losing them. You have to make a man feel needed and wanted. It's just part of their genetic makeup. So I just talk about that in Decoding Men. They're the most simple creatures ever. They really, really are. It's
Yeah.
in fact, here it is. It is the simplest book. Look at how tiny it is.
Yeah.
It's so
That's awesome.
tiny, but it's just what I've learned over the years, and it's a pattern that I've seen. And yeah,
Yeah.
so it helps people in their relationships.
I love it. I love it. Now, where can people find these books?
The Tornabene collection, but they're really on every single they're on every single platform that you could imagine. They're even
Yeah.
audio. So if you Google my name, you'll see all the books come up, or you can go to Amazon, or the Tornabene collection has all my books there.
I love it. Now, you have a course that you just are getting ready to launch, or it's launched now. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, so that's the roadmap, and that's getting ready to launch. It'll be done any day now. We're just putting it all together and then putting it on the website. And like I mentioned before, everything takes time when you're scaling, and this is part of my scaling. And I'm just sitting here like this because I've been done with the course, so now I'm just waiting for everybody else to put their hands on it and put it together. But this course is a literal roadmap from A to Z on how to build your business, how to scale it, and how to build a brand.
Yeah.
Psychology of money. Psychology of money is so important. I created a course, a separate one of that, but that also is in the roadmap because
Yeah.
when people are spending their money for your service or business, whatever niche your business is in,
Yeah.
they want to know what they're spending their money for. They want the value of that. So your business you have to incorporate psychology with your business too. But Anyways, it's just a roadmap. And anybody who is a go-getter and an entrepreneur, if you've already started the steps and you're
Yeah.
you're buying that course, that means you're ready to take action. And you
Right.
might get lost in that roadmap. You might, things change over time. I tried to make it more of a general. So go on YouTube and look up this and watch a video on it. And the reason why I did that is because things are constantly changing. So I can refer you to a certain YouTube video that helped me at that time, but it doesn't mean it's going to help you 5 years from now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this course is a roadmap. And then I offer one-on-one training. So let's just say you're getting through this course and you're like, hey, I'm hitting this wall. This is my niche. This is my business. And maybe this isn't working for me or this has changed. Let's
Yeah.
hop on the call. Let's figure this out. I offer one-on-one coaching for 1,000 an hour. I also offer a 2-year branding. So for $100,000, I will literally take your brand and scale it for you. All you
Hmm.
need to do is have the funding and the grit because it takes a lot, but I will do that for very select businesses. I can only do that for 5 or 6. Right now I have 9 businesses and I'm juggling it all. So I could
Yes.
probably put on another 5 or 6, but and then I also offer an acquisition because scaling is very expensive. It is very expensive. And like I said, once you get started, it's hard to stop. You can't
Yes.
stop halfway through. You put so much effort into it, so much money into it. So I do offer an acquisition. I'll take 30% of your business. I'll scale it. I'll do the branding. I'll pay for it all. All you have to
Yeah.
do is continue doing your niche and what you're doing best that helps build the brand. So I offer different things. And then I have one free course. And the free course is building your brand that lasts because that is so important. That is the first thing anybody needs to do. I mean, when you built the podcast, you had to think, what is the target audience? Who am I going to help when I do this? What am I going to do with this podcast, right?
Hmm.
And that's with any brand. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber, it doesn't matter if you're a paralegal, a maid, or you want to build a marketing company. Whatever your brand is going to be, you have to have that mood board. You have to have your vision has to be clear, and then
Yes.
you can start.
100%. Oh, I love this. I love this. Now, where can people find you? So if they want your information on you and the services that you provide, and what are the different services that you provide? So you provide
I
branding.
love doing coaching. I could do spiritual coaching. Sometimes people are just getting through life and they just want somebody to talk to. I am not a therapist, but I
Mhm.
can help you with your vision and your goals, and your vision board is so important. I have a new vision board every time I start knocking off things on my to-do list and my vision board, and it's so important to keep that vision there. So I love coaching people no matter what the issue is. Another thing is I like helping build the businesses, which is, part of my brand. And also I love public speaking. So if I can speak to a crowd of people and change lives,
Yeah,
I'm all there for it. So those are the things, and I write, I'm an author. Those are
I
the things
love.
that I do.
That's awesome.
Just live a purposeful life. I think that that's what every single one of us, I think we strive for what am I here for? And we go through things that we think the world is over. We're done. I don't want to go through this anymore. I've been there. We've all been there where it's just like, I'm ready to fold it. What am I doing this for? Once
Yes,
we find what our purpose is, and I could tell you what your purpose is, whatever you love doing, how can
yes,
you give back to society? What hardships have you been through? What has it taught you? How can you turn those into new strategies
yes,
to help other people? It's your journey is like a hidden curriculum, right? What
yes,
did the situation reveal about me? What skills did I sharpen while I'm surviving it? What could this lesson benefit others? How could it benefit others? And then that's really your purpose. So for me, I found my purpose is fulfilling, and that's really helping other people through adversity, helping them build brands, a legend. I call it the Empire Blueprint. And I call it the Empire Blueprint because I built an empire. I built an empire, and I've used the same system for each one of my businesses. It works. So,
right.
yeah,
I love it. I love it. Now tell everybody one more time your website so they can go to it.
it is italiatornabene.com. That is the main one for the business building. And then Baxter Saves is the Baxter Learns to Save website. Tornabene collection is all my books and my public speaking. And then Benny Bellezza is my makeup line, and Tornabene wine is the wine.
I love it. Oh, this has been amazing. And I think you're is truly amazing. I think, what you do is amazing. I love how you went from, building your business, going having your ups and downs, trying to figure everything out and then just putting it all together and just thriving. And then,
Put them in that. Yeah.
yeah.
You go through these really hard times in life and you start thinking, why me? Right? I've been there. Why me? And I tell people, stop thinking that. Stop
Yeah.
thinking, why me? It's you're going through it because the next person that you're going to help go through it is not as strong as you and they need your guidance. So get
Yeah.
through it, pivot, learn whatever you learn from it, turn it into a curriculum because somebody's going to come across your path that's going to be crying their eyes out, that's going to be trying to give up, and you're going to be like, "Hey, no, 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 I've been there, I've gone through it. Let me help you." And I promise you, you'll get through it too, you know?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Italia, for coming on the show. I hope you'll be on the show again and we can talk some more because you have such knowledge in so many different areas that we can touch base on. I just think you're an amazing individual and I wish you the best of luck with the course coming out. And thank you so much for helping people because like what you do is really important. Not only do you give knowledge and show people how to build their businesses, but you also show people a sense of hope and that there is a rainbow there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which you definitely
Always.
should. Yes.
And the one thing I want listeners to know, I've been homeless with my son 4 times. And every single time I'm like, what am I doing this for? What am I working here for? I've been suicidal. Like it's really hard. Life is not easy, but life will throw you lemons. Make lemonade out of it because there is going to be some amazing things that come out from it. Just get through
Uh,
it. Anybody
100,
can do anything.
100%. Well, thank you so much for listening to the advisor with Stacey Chillemi. If you found this valuable, please follow and subscribe on Apple, Cat, and Spotify and YouTube, and wherever you listen to it, and share this episode with someone who is ready to turn adversity into opportunity. See you next time. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.